the NBA, like baseball before them, the math has solved the game in a way that has made it almost less mysterious. Over the last 10, 15 years, we've really figured out that the three, even 37% three-point shooting, is more efficient than any other type of offense. So that's why so many guys can take it. And I think anytime you solve a sport, it becomes more boring, it becomes more niche. And I just worry that's what's happened with the NBA is these data analysts, these teams, they've really gotten in there and figured it out in a way that they have to make an adjustment. Three-point shooting is up every single year, really since they brought the three-point line in, but maybe it's starting to get out of control. The other day, we saw teams combine for over 100 three-pointers. It's becoming more the norm for 40 or 50 threes to be taken in a game. Tim Legler, is it a problem that so many teams are starting to take this many threes?
I do think it's a problem. And it's just because I'm going off of feedback of people that I know are watching every night and people that are just love the NBA, lifetimers. And they're saying they're a little disillusioned with it because it feels a little bit monotonous. And that's the problem, the monotony of it. And I think for me, more than the monotony of it, because I will say there are more guys that can make them at a high level. There's more great shot makers in the NBA than ever. So the talent level is off the charts. So I can appreciate that. For me, I think there are too many guys that have absolute green light freedom to shoot the shot. That's the part I think for me that's tough. It's literally anybody on the court at any time can shoot a three. And it doesn't seem to be any reaction from the coaching staff or the bench. Like that's not something they were looking for, even though percentages indicate that's not a great shot in that spot. So that's where I think the lack of a little bit more discretion on who's shooting them would number one, that would obviously bring the numbers down a little bit. But I also just think the overall quality of what you're watching on a nightly basis would go up. The efficiency would go up. The shot making would be more impressive because I think there's too many stretches in games where teams can go up and down and string together. They take 10 or 12 in a 3 or 4 minute period between the two teams sometimes. And with little success, and you're just kind of like, okay, there's another way to win. There's another way to play basketball. So for me, that's the bigger issue is like the number of guys that just have complete freedom to take the shot whenever they want to is what kind of surprises me some nights. And I think that hurts the product some nights.
What I think it is the NBA, like baseball before them, the math has solved the game in a way that has made it almost less mysterious. I think your sport is great when there's a little mystery around it. It's hard to really understand, but over the last 10, 15 years, we've really figured out that the three, even 37% three-point shooting, is more efficient than any other type of offense. So that's why so many guys can take it. And I think anytime you solve a sport, it becomes more boring. It becomes more niche. And I just worry that's what's happened with the NBA is these data analysts, these teams, they've really gotten in there and figured it out in a way that they have to make an adjustment. And I don't know if that's the biggest reason or one of the reasons ratings are down. I know not everybody loves talking about ratings. Some people do. I don't think there's anything wrong with being interested in, is your league growing or shrinking in popularity? The NBA appears to be shrinking, at least in viewership. But I have some proposed fixes for it, Legs, and you can tell me what you think here. Number one, and I think this is the easiest one, allow a lot more contact out on the perimeter because guys running off of screens, catch, kick out for three, that's good basketball. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. The freedom of movement you get out on the perimeter to be able to generate off the dribble threes, jump sideways, get contact, that's where it makes it impossible to defend. So number one, bring back hand checking and just allow for more physicality on things like when guys are jumping sideways or jumping forward. Allow the defender the grace of saying, hey, you were in your space, they jumped into you. I think that's number one, more physicality.
And look, there's a lot of people that want to see more of that in the game. That's certainly going to impede it. But I will say a lot of guys now, man, they work all summer on step backs and side step threes to escape even tight windows and get shots off when they caught the ball, and they have been a little bit more closely guarded. They still find ways to be able to get those shots off. I think it's a mentality around the game that is analytic driven, that people have crunched numbers and said that this is a better way to play and it makes you better offensively and you can get to numbers to a better efficiency rate that you're looking for by taking more threes. That's really what this comes down to. Now, look, maybe a team winning it that plays differently could change some of that, but then again, maybe not, because like a team like Dallas that doesn't take a ton, if they were to break through and win a championship, yeah, you say, well, okay, look, they're more selective. They're taking like 34 a night, which sounds like a lot, but that puts you like in the bottom 10 in the league in attempts.
Only 34, yeah.
Yeah, that the last Denver takes less than anybody in the league at 30.
Yeah.
That's last in the league. Dallas is down there. A lot of the other teams that are down there are not contending teams. Dallas is a team like they are a contender. They potentially could get to the finals, and they went to the finals last year. But then people would look at that and say, "Yeah, great. Not everybody's got Luka and Kyrie, right? Luka can and he takes a lot of threes too, but he can beat you up in getting to the rim and into the paint whenever he wants. Kyrie, obviously, when he gets cooking, he's great mid range, great finisher. They have two of the best offensive players of their generation. So it's easier to do that for them. Not everybody has that. So you go simple action and everybody spaces out and you take the first decent shot you get. But that could change the mentality around it. Like a team playing a different style. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's just playing inside, scoring inside. I mean, you hope Denver would be this. They won in 2023, to your point, a different way, but did not have traction. Another one you could do here, and this sounds subtle, get rid of defensive 3 seconds. I think it's so hard as a big man or just the low man, to get into the paint and run out on a kick out to the corners, right? That's hard to do. But it's even harder when you have to check out of the paint, rotate back in to stop, then rotate back in. And I actually think it's one of the reasons we see more injuries, that right to left, all the way back to right in quick order at the speed you have to do it. I think that's one of the ways you really build wear and tear. So getting rid of defensive 3 seconds, if you want to plant in the paint, you can plant there. You still got to run out, but you're not going right, left as a help man.
So explain what you're saying. You're not saying that just let defensive centers stand in the lane the whole possession? Like what are you saying there?
That's what I'm saying. You can let them do that because you still have a corner spacer, right? They still have to decide if they're guarding the corner or the paint. The difference is you don't have to keep checking out of the paint, keep getting out. If they can just stand there, I think it would have a trickle-down effect of it's easier to close out on the corner, so you have to be a little bit more creative in how you attack the defenses.
Yeah, that's possible. Or it could also, you could have, teams that have a guy that's a good rim protector that's hanging out more in the paint. It might be more of a deterrent for guys to even drive. And so now they are looking to shoot threes more because you're like, I can't get to the rim, so I'm just going to shoot this three real quick. So I don't know. It could have the opposite effect.
Yeah. What about if you make the 3-point line a true arc so that there's no corner threes? Your 3-pointers are basically above the break or top of the key.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I think I don't know what the data says. I mean, are there more corner threes taken than anything else? I think.
Well, if you just eliminated those, you wouldn't be putting guys in those spots as much, right? You'd move them around the court, play them in the dunker a little more.
No, that's true. I think, look, I don't know there's so many things about the game that have evolved in a certain direction over time. And you say, what is it going to take around the collective mentality and ideology to turn this? And I just don't know that that's the case. And it's look, this has trickled all the way down to every level of basketball now in the way the teams play and what's acceptable for coaches to allow offensively. So I just think it's a much bigger problem. It's permeated the game at every level. And I think now that the analytics guys are telling these teams this is the best way to operate. It gives us the best chance every night. So you can make all kinds of changes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, where's it going to end? Boston's taking 51 a night. And if they win a title, taking 50 plus threes a night, think about that, man. What the statement
next, 70 right after that. I mean, you're right. All right. If you didn't like those ones, I could tell you're not really feeling these dramatic changes. You're going to really hate our producer James's idea. Actually, before I give you that one, what if dunks were worth 3? So you have a 3-pointer's worth of 3, a dunk is worth of 3. So now you're just as incentivized to get into the paint and score as you are to take a 3.
It's the best one I've heard. I mean, I think that's really what you have to do. So you have 2 ways to look at it. Devalue the deep shot in some way, which I don't know what you do about that. You're not going to start making those 2s. If you move the line back anymore, they're still going to take the same number of 3s. They're just going to shoot it at a much lower percentage, and it's going to be worse basketball. So that's not the answer. So the other option is, well, let's increase the value of something that's
Right.
not a three. That'd be the other way to look at it. So I think that's pretty cool.
Giannis is going to win 8 straight MVPs. If a dunk is worth a
Yeah, can you
three,
imagine?
he's going to be averaging 50 a game. And then the last one, this one comes from producer James. If you were allowed, and I'm going to amend it, he said if you could goaltend threes. I don't think you can do that. Too easy for these 7-footers to just stand there and goaltend. But what if you had a FIBA goaltend? So you can't just goaltend, but if it's around the rim a little bit on a three-pointer, you could knock it off the rim.
Well, the only problem with that is that's not going to impact it that much because most 3-pointers don't
right.
hang around the rim.
Swish.
Most 3-pointers are gonna hit that rim and they're kicking out or they're going in, and they're kicking out long or they're going in. Or very rarely do you see something hit the rim and then hang around that cylinder on a 3-point shot, and where you could potentially jump up and knock it off. So I don't know that'd be something that would work either.
You're right about it. You're right. 99.9% of threes are just straight in, so I don't think it's going to work. I do think it's a problem, though. And when I say problem, look, there are people that like it. This is not a thing of, because you always get the comments, I like the game with the, it's not about that. It's makes the most people happy, what makes the most people tune out or kind of discount it. And even if it is good analytics, even if it is good talent, like you mentioned, these guys are really good at shooting threes. They've designed themselves, they've trained themselves to be good at shooting threes. Even if that, the game maybe is just losing a little something when it's so valuable that it's more valuable than every other basketball skill that you can have. One of the reasons we love the game is there's so many different ways to impact it. But right now, shooting impacts it more than anything else to a degree that we worry is getting out of control. You guys catch me and Tim Legler live 4 times a week. We're doing full hour-long podcasts breaking down the games, the actual games. So make sure you subscribe to the channel right here, the All NBA Show. You can also get it in podcast form on your phone from any of your podcast apps. Hit that like button. We'll see you next time.